as soon as you leave to take your children to school in the morning, you get back and there's nowhere to park. They've double yellow lined some of the roads, so obviously where there's double yellow lines you can't park. We can't park round by our garages because they park behind our garages. It's awful. We can't have visitors. There's no quality of life because when you ask someone to come and see you, they can't park anywhere. We're told we can't park up on the grass because it's a breach of our tenancy, but we just have nowhere to park and no one seems to be on our side.
What do you think the answer is?
Me personally, I'd like the hospital gate shut because then there's no cut through. They've got no reason to park here. Then they'd have to use the car park at Lyons Way, which is where they're told to park, and then it will stop them obviously using this road because they won't be able to get through to the hospital.
Right, now I actually work at a hospital, not Frimley Park, I might add. I work at the Royal Surrey County Hospital, where parking is also a nightmare, not just for the patients and the residents, but for the staff. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the compromise is? Well,
I do totally understand. Also, the staff of the hospital shouldn't have to pay. That's not fair. But at the same time, this isn't a car park. This is a residence. Residents live here. It's not a public car park for the hospital. They block you in and everything. I don't know. I mean, we're told they're given free parking over at Lyons Way. So that's what we're told. So I think they should be allowed to park there. They're told to do car shares or buses on from somewhere. I don't know really.
We have a park and ride situation at the Royal Surrey which works very well. I don't know if they've got the same Frimley Park. That's something I'll look into. But thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. I mean, I've got to say I don't envy you at all. I mean, I'm looking at the cars parked down here. I can pretty much guarantee that the vast majority of them are hospital stuff.
Yeah, I think the other thing is dangerous as well for the children because the way they do park, there's no safe place for a child to cross, and we've had a couple of children knocked over by hospital workers down this road because sometimes they also fly up here quite fast, so we've asked for speed camera to come down, which we're still waiting for as well.
Okay, well perhaps that's something we can talk to your county councillor about. Well listen, thank you very much for your time, really appreciate it. I'm talking to Roy Selstrom. Roy is a resident here at Gilbert Road, and we're right outside his property here, and we can see all the cars parked up here. It's an absolute nightmare down here, Roy. I mean, what is it actually like to live here with all these cars here, and what impact does that have on you as a resident?
Biggest impact is you can't park Monday to Friday between 7:30 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon. You just can't park outside your own property. It's an absolute nightmare. You leave here for the morning to go on the kiddies run and you'll not get a parking space back outside. I'm not saying it's outside your house, the parking, but it is residents parking, and these residents can't park.
Right, now, as I said to one of your neighbours a minute ago, I'm a healthcare professional for the NHS. I don't work at Frimley Park, I work at the Royal Surrey. But, the parking issues are not just residents, it's the staff as well have problems with parking. I mean, what would you say to that?
I'd say, just looking up there behind my shoulder, 90% of that traffic you can see up that road is parking from the hospital staff. And it's not the nurses and doctors, it's not the healthcare professionals, it's the administration staff. Right. And you can turn up there and you say to them, some mornings you'll come and you just leave it because you're just fed up of arguing, but other days you'll just get out your car and say, look, this is residents parking, and you end up with a blazing argument with them, which, no one wants confrontation at that level.
No. What's the answer?
The answer is, I believe, that the county council or the local council should really get involved more, and have discussions with the residents, and let's see how can we move forward. Double yellow lines is not the way forward. Enforced parking for the residents is not the way forward, because the impact is on us. It's not on the people who are parking here. The impact's on us. There's parking across the road for most of these people. The hospital's paid for parking across at the industrial estate, and they're paid for parking at Matterland. Why are they not using it?
Right. Well, that's something that I intend to raise with your county councillor shortly. So thanks very much for your time, Roy, and we'll be watching developments here at Gilbert Road carefully.
Listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I've just been speaking to a number of residents on Gilbert Road concerning the parking situation here. Because of the gate that's behind you. This is an access point for many of the hospital staff, and a great deal of them seem to park their vehicles along Gilbert Road here. Residents are really struggling even just to get parking themselves, let alone their visitors. You're the county councillor responsible for this matter. What are you going to do about it?
The law is that you can park wherever you like if there aren't any parking restrictions. In most of this road there are no parking restrictions and people can park where they want. Given that, we have two big employers in this area. One is Siemens. I've helped Siemens with their parking problems. Siemens take a very dim view of any member of staff who parks in a residential road and in any way obstructs a resident. They come down on that staff member very heavily. And working in Siemens, you don't want to upset your bosses. The other employer, Frimley Park Hospital, isn't doing as much as it could. I understand that finance is a problem, but they really have to sit on their staff and make sure the staff use the parking facilities that they have. They cannot keep inconveniencing people in a road like this. It's not fair.
And I've got to say, it's the first time I've been down here. The parking situation does seem an absolute nightmare, and I think that what residents want to hear from you, Dennis, is that you're going to do something positive to help them.
Yes, we are working with Surrey's parking officers. They're doing another survey here. They're sending a mailing around, I believe, during May. The second one they've done, 2 years ago they sent a mailing, only 10% replied. The problem is the residents have to decide what's best for them. One option is park and ride for the hospital, but you can't make the hospital do it. Another option is a residents' parking zone, which costs a few pounds per year, but then the road is monitored by Surrey Heath wardens. It may be that's the only option to guarantee the peace and quiet they deserve.
Well, I'm only thinking off the top of my head here, Dennis, but perhaps you could facilitate a residents' meeting and see and discuss the options.
100% I will facilitate and help fund a residents' meeting. I think when the residents get together with officers, as we did in Frimley a couple of years ago over the parking in the High Street, you then start getting decisions.
Yeah, and one thing that struck me this morning, having spoken to a number of residents down here, is what an active community this is, which is wonderful to see. So I'm pretty sure that residents will get behind you on that.
Over the last 4 years, I've encouraged areas to form active residents associations. It's so easy for them to work with a councillor, and together you get things done. I'm going to help them strengthen their residents grouping here, have regular meetings. I'm bringing in outside help, and we'll go forward from there.
Councillor Dennis Fuller, thank you very much.
Pleasure to talk.